Good morning, everyone. My name is Scott Morris. I am the Director of Business Development for GTS Gaming. I am here today joined by the fabulous, beautiful, and exceptional singing voice, Dan DiLorenzo from R&R Games. We are going to be talking about two very cool games and a couple probably others from his collection. He has quite a broad collection, which is awesome. The two we're going to talk about specifically, though, are going to be Outback and Bite Your Tongue. Bite Your Tongue is a new game coming up, which you may not have seen yet, but I'm sure by the end of this conversation, you will be laughing hysterically around it because it is a laugh out loud type game. Just as a reminder for everyone who is a GTS customer who is here live, you will be eligible to get a free demo copy of Outback, which is awesome. It's a great game to demo and have on a table for your store. Nothing for you to do on that. You just, once you've pre-registered here and attended live, that information gets sent over to your GTS sales rep. They'll contact you, get that all set up, and be able to get a demo copy out to you. But then in the meantime, we're going to talk about two really cool games. We're going to talk about a great brand, as you've heard me talk in the past couple of times, that I always tell our salespeople at GTS and our retailers at GTS to focus more on brands first and individual games second, because a good brand with a good message and a good focus will deliver good games. And R&R is definitely one of those partners for us. So we're really excited to have Dan here. With that, just as a reminder, if you have any questions, as I always say, everything is on the table, pardon the pun. You're welcome to ask anything you like. Feel free, if you hover over your video window, there'll be a little chat bubble. You can type in your question there and we will hop to it as soon as we see it. With that, I will go ahead and be quiet and let the man of the hour take over, though. Dan, it's all you, my friend.
Thank you, Scott. I appreciate it. Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Dan, and I am one of the owners of R&R Games. I'm going to be giving you a little bit of history about the company, so I'm going to share some slides with you. I'm going to tell you about a couple of games, one that is currently out, that is Outback, that is currently available, and then one that will be available towards the end of July, and that is Bite Your Tongue. I'll give you a little bit of information about one of our Essen releases, and then we can kind of open it up for any questions you may have. So I'm going to start with sharing my screen and showing you a brief PowerPoint. I think it's a little bit easier to work that way. If I can find it, where is it? I guess I go here. All right, and then where did it go? All right, so can everybody see that?
Yes, you are good to go. It is the full PowerPoint presentation, though. It's not in like a slide mode or anything like that.
Okay, let me get it in slide mode then. Sorry about that. There we go.
There you go.
Okay, so a little bit about us. We were established in 1996. My brother Frank started the company. Basically, our mission is we just want to offer toys and games that are going to bring people together. And we do, one of our key points is in playing games with people, you're going to create lifelong memories. And being in business this long, we now have young adults who come to us and they say, oh my goodness, I played that game with my parents when I was a little kid, and now I have my own children, and I'm happy that you still have this game where we can offer it and show it to our kids. So that's really, really rewarding for us. We have over 11 evergreen games currently in our lineup, and we offer right now, we have over 126 different titles that we have. And we have something for everybody in the family. We have toys that are games for ages 3 and up. Many of our products have won some fairly prestigious awards, and we've also been showcased on Good Morning America and the Today Show with several of our games and toys. And currently we presently offer our toys and games throughout the world, but we're always looking to open new markets, and we're getting very close to opening up South America. Currently, most of our games are published in 4 languages, and we're going to be adding a 5th language, which is going to be Spanish to that. So we're excited about that because that is a huge market, and we were slow to the party. We should have opened up the Spanish market probably 10 years ago, and we were just growing too fast. So, but that's something that will be on for anything coming out in 2020. So we're excited about that. A little bit about R&R. Frank and I are a couple of goofy guys, but The whole premise behind R&R is that every one of our games has a clue and a riddle to the massive riddle, which is what does R&R stand for? To date, no one's guessed the answer, but there's a significant prize. If you notice, all of our domestic games have unique logos. This is kind of a marketing faux pas, if you will, but we have decided to set our own trend, and it's been very, very successful for us. So each of our logos that are our products that are sold domestically represent the game. So there are specific clues in every single rule book that talks about, will give you a hint to what does R&R actually mean. But there are also other riddles and clues in all of our games. So we hold monthly drawings. And a lot of people know this, but there's still a lot of people that aren't aware of this. And we generally have anywhere from 700 to 1,200 guesses each month. So, and again, we give away free games. We give away gift certificates to different restaurants in different areas. Recently, we awarded somebody, he had solved the riddle that was in a game called Pyramid Poker. And it was a very difficult riddle. So we had offered him a weekend, him and his family, a weekend in Las Vegas. And they actually turned it down because of their faith. And so we ended up giving them a significant cash prize. But we also awarded them a particular marble obelisk. And on that obelisk are more clues leading them to solve the riddle of what does R&R stand for. And to date, he's still working on it. He hasn't solved it yet. So a little bit about our company. You may or may not know that we always offer free demos to retailers. So I met with your sales reps on Friday and let them know that all you have to do is ask them, and they'll send me an email and I'll get it right out to you, usually within 24 hours. And all I ask is once you receive it, try to open up the game and look at it within 2 weeks, because I'm going to try to follow up with you, or your sales rep will follow up with you. Our line is typically geared, we have a wide variety, but it's geared so that you can start playing the game fairly quickly. You don't need a lot of time to learn 95% of our games. If you ever find it helpful, you can contact me directly, and I will do a Skype training session with your staff and go over some easy ways to talk about our products and to sell them. I'll also do store visits, so I'll come in and do a special event at your store. I try to center that around the trips because I do a lot of trade shows. So I'll come in early or I'll leave late from a trade show, and I'll spend an evening or an afternoon at your store and give away some special, swag items for your customers, as well as some free copies of older games, not necessarily the new games that you're trying to push on them. I'll save that for you to do that. As I mentioned, we have something and everything. My contact information is here, so you can just take that down. The best way to reach me is my cell phone. And you just want to always identify that this is so-and-so, I'm a retailer, I saw you on this webinar. And you can email me directly and just send me your information, say I would like these demos, and like I said, we'll get them right out to you. Okay, so some of our best known titles, obviously the fourth game that we ever published was Time's Up and Time's Up Title Recall. This is a massive seller for us, and we currently sell this in a number of countries and over 15 different languages. And we recently released a game called Bob's Your Uncle. Bob's Your Uncle is nothing more than Australian Time's Up. We decided to badge it something differently because it's strictly made for Australians. But interestingly enough, it's outselling, the US market is outselling the Australian market. So it's kind of interesting to see how that's happening. But this is a game where if you haven't played, I would encourage you to try it. It is probably more fun than you can imagine in a little bit of box. The boxes, they're unique shape. They're the size of a personal tissue box. This is something that we did from feedback from a lot of our customers who said, your boxes are big and they take up a lot of space. And, of course, your space in your stores are valuable. So we listen to you. And it's interesting because you're never going to make anybody happy, but I'll share with you that after we made this change where we went from a normal size party game box down to this little personal size tissue box. I did have two retailers, one in New York and one in Connecticut, say that they could no longer carry the game because they didn't like the smaller box. But for the most part, people like the fact that we listened to the retailers and gave you a smaller box. Then, of course, you'll probably all know about Hanabi. That's been something that has been pretty popular since it won the Spiel des Jahres. We are coming out with Hanabi Deluxe 2. So we created a separate SKU. The deluxe version has been suspended for 2 years because the material price went through the roof, and that's why we haven't published it. We could do nothing about it, and then after we decided to go ahead, we were hit with the tariffs. So the price of the new game is significantly higher. It's going to retail for $70 US. But the game will hold an expansion that has not been seen here in the US yet. We did have some copies at Origin, so there are some people that have now played the expansion, but this is a special expansion that was given to us by the designer, Antoine Bauza, and so it adds a nice twist to the game. And if you're a Hanabi fanatic, playing the tiles are the preferred way to play. Pig Pile is another one of our evergreen games. This is one of the games I was mentioning earlier that now young adults who are having children are telling us that this is a game that they played with their parents. We freshened up the artwork about, 5 years ago now, and the game still sells pretty well. We sell an average of 130,000 units a year of this game. So it does very, very well for us. Inside the box are 40 adorable little pigs, and I think that's the attraction. Maybe there's a lot of pig dioramas being made, and they find it's a better value to get the pigs from us than somewhere else. But the game is fun, simple game. It's like an Uno type game, but families love playing it with their children. So First and Goal is a sports game we came out with about 12 years ago, and it's been very, very successful for us. And it's basically a 2 to 4 player football game. And recently we have now come out with a sequel called First and Roll. The original is card-based, and the sequel is dice-based. So the advantage of the sequel is it plays in half the time, about 35 minutes compared to about 70 minutes for First and Goal. But still a widely popular game for us. And it's taught a lot of people the rules of football in a game format, so people really thank us for that. All right, now a little bit about what we have currently out and coming out. I wanted to mention Outback. So Outback is an interesting game by Michael Kiesling. You may or may not know he's the designer of Azul. We have published a couple of his games. He's done some partnerships with other famous German designers, and he's a big fan of our product line. This is a real simple push your luck dice game. What makes it interesting is the object of the game is you are trying to fill up your Outback. So this is your Outback here, and you do that by a Yahtzee style roll, and there's a little Jeep, and yes, this is a 3-dimensional Jeep that fits inside the box. You don't have to disassemble it each time that you put the game away. And you're going to be doing a Yahtzee style roll, trying to take animal tokens off of there to fill up your Outback. If you know Kiesling, he likes unique twists, and this one is no different. This one is at the end of the game, you have these scoring tokens that are going to go up the scoring track on the left side and over on the top. But the twist in this game is that at the end of the game, you will only score the lower 3 animals on the side. So there are 5 animals throughout the game, and your objective is try to move 2 of the scoring tokens up to the top where everything on the top row will score, because only the bottom 3 animals score on the left side. So it makes for an interesting game. It's very well balanced, and it's a lot of fun. Who doesn't like dice games, right? The game has a lot of replayability in it. The other side of the board is a little bit larger Outback, and if you notice, it has 7 dice as opposed to only using 6 dice on this board here. There's also a team play version, which is a lot of fun, and there's other bonus tokens that are inside the box, so you have a lot of different variants that you can play with this game. It retails for $35 and it's currently in stock. And it is a slow starter, I will tell you that. When people play it, they see, they liken it to Azul. I personally don't see it, but if you're a fan of Kiesling's games, you'll know that this is a solid game and you'll enjoy it. And it's a great value at 35.
Yeah, I want to add in real quick. That was a comment I made to Dan over the weekend too. Is that I've had several people tell me that Outback strikes them as Azul with dice is kind of the comparison. In that the way that you are picking your tiles in Azul is very similar to how you're picking your animals in Outback, but you're using dice with those instead of just directly picking from factories. And it's been very interesting to see that happen because it's a very approachable game. It's a game that when you see it on the table and there's these things happening with the dice and the animals and all that stuff, that it's just a very natural reaction for gamers to want to come over and pick it up and play with it and touch it. So from a demo perspective game, this game should do very well for a lot of the retailers in the store.
Yeah. And then the next game I want to talk to you about is a game called Bite Your Tongue. So in Bite Your Tongue, this is a party game. This is the packaging that it'll come in. It's a little neoprene pouch, and inside the box are 400 clues. And what you have is you have 60 seconds where you're trying to get people to guess words or clues. And you're going to give 3 hints. So you have 60 seconds and you're trying to get people to guess as many clues as they can. And each one is worth a point. The catch of this game is there's a particular way that the clue giver has to give the clues. And I will actually do a couple right now. And you guys can, you can just type in your answers down below and Scott will tell me if somebody's right or wrong. So the 3 methods are, I have to pinch my nose, I have to bite my tongue, and I have to pinch my nose and stick my tongue out. So those are the 3 ways. So if you guys are ready, first one to type it in will get the point. Here we go. I am a TV and movie hero. Beam me up, Scotty. I was played by William Shatner.
Derek was the first one to say Kirk, although Kit was the first one to say Captain Kirk. So.
Kirk. Yeah, they're both correct, though.
Very nice.
We'll try one more. I'm a musician. I wear funny glasses. I'm a rocket man.
Kit was quick as well, as Derek was quick as well, too. Elton John.
There you go. So that's how you play the game. The beauty of this game is that anyone who plays this game is going to look foolish, and they're going to have fun doing it. All right, so here is a little sneak peek of what we have coming for one of our Essen releases. We have 2 games that I'm really excited about for Essen. I don't have artwork yet to show you on the second one, but this is a game called Humboldt's Great Adventure. So Humboldt was this adventurer in the late 1800s. He's extremely well known for touring the South Americas. But what makes this game kind of interesting, this is a pickup and delivery game where you basically have orders on ships that you're trying to fulfill. That's what is shown at the bottom of the board. But it has a Mancala mechanic where you're going to be moving around the board in a Mancala sort of way. And it's interesting because you have to make quick decisions on which way do you want to move to pick up the most resources to fulfill your contracts. So this is one of the games we have coming out at Essen. This may be available for distribution as Essen unfolds, so I will let your sales reps know, and you may want to bring it in. When we are able to get a game in before we go to Essen, it usually does very, very well here in the States. That's something I'll keep you apprised of. And the other game is called Coralia. I don't have a graphic on it, but it's an underwater adventure where you're going to be exploring one of 6 reefs. And what makes this game interesting, both of these are light strategy games. Humboldt's is probably a little bit more light to medium, whereas Coralia is clearly a light game. But what makes it unique is the bits are absolutely stunning and gorgeous, which is kind of a departure from us. We're all about pricing and making a great game, and you know, we don't really worry about that the bits have to be stellar. But in this game here, the people have played the pre-production prototypes. They are just amazed of how pleasing the game is. So that's a little bit about R&R Games, and I will stop the screen share now if I can figure out how to do that. There we go. Boom.
One thing, we haven't gotten any questions, so just as a reminder, if anyone does have a question, feel free to type it into the Zoom webinar chat info. You can do that by hovering over the window and then opening up the chat bubble there at the bottom. One of the things that I think is really good to bring up is that a lot of retailers utilize GTS to aggregate a lot of things, meaning that you'll buy some games from one company, some games from another company, kind of wrap it all up and put it all into one shipment. And one of the things that Dan had brought up when he talked to our salespeople last week, and I think this is tremendous for the retailers to know as well, is that if you are really close to that threshold for free shipping with GTS, R&R is a great company to look at in terms of adding things on to get you to that minimum if you need to, because they have such a wide array of games that go, I think, Dan, correct me if I say this wrong or anything, you have some as low as $7 MSRP, is that right?
That is correct, yeah.
Yeah, so that's awesome. So like if you're like right near that, must be this tall to ride sign, and then you just need that last kind of kick up, then that's a great opportunity to look at. And Dan obviously had been making games for quite some time, so there is a much larger catalog than just the few games that we've talked about here. So I just want to make sure to point that out. Derek wants to know if you can please show the pouch for Bite Your Tongue again now that the video is larger, so he can see the full picture of the image. And that is neoprene, right?
That is neoprene, yep.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome that it stands up that sturdy, right, and it looks that sharp on a shelf.
And it'll also be available in a POP box. There'll be 6 to a box. So that will, you have the option to order that many, and then it'll come in a nice display box as well.
Oh, awesome. Is that going to be something that when it ships, like as a full case of 6, it'll have that with it automatically?
It will, yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's excellent. I know sometimes we do have retailers that'll order less than case quantities, but that's a great opportunity to get something for right there next to the register. And
for those of you that you don't want to order 6, when it comes, this will be this. When I say this is the zipper. The zipper will have a little plastic tag, so you can actually hang it on a rung on your shelf. Whoops, or you can drop it. So we made it so that when it comes, it'll be, you can either hang it on a rung in your store, or you can just set it right on the counter and it'll sit like that.
Awesome. That's excellent. Options are good. Options are good.
Yeah. Well, one of our games, Pickle Letter, is in a pickle jar. And a lot of people are like, well, that's weird. I don't have shape for a pickle jar. And I'm like, all you have to do is put one jar next to the cash register and people will touch it and they'll see the pickles. The pickles are amazing. I have store owners that tell me that they sell just because people can touch the pickles. And they're like, you know what? I don't even care that it's a game. I just want these pickles.
Yeah, I had a conversation with a retailer Wednesday last week who was telling me about what he called the power of touch, which was when someone is able to pick something up and hold it and like just touch it with their own hands, that there is automatically a connection mentally to, I need to be able to buy this. And it's funny because he was making his comment about bananagrams, about how when people pick up bananagrams in that pouch, that it's like, it just becomes something that they want to take home or something. So I'm sure Bite Your Tongue may have that same effect, which is kind of cool.
It does. Another one that has that effect is Hearts of Attraction, which is our magnet game. I have retailers that sell 12 to 24 a month of this game, and all they do is they open one up and they put it next to the cash register, and there's 25 heart-shaped magnets, and people, they touch them, they play with them, and they say, what is this? You say it's a game, about 70% of the people will just buy it without even knowing how to play the game. So
nice. Impulse buys are good things.
Can I just show one more thing now that I'm thinking?
By all means, feel free. Yes. That one thing is apparently the back of Dan's office. No, we'll give Dan a second here to get back on.
When I do these webinars, people say, well, why do you have other people's products here behind you? Well, because I'm a game person. I like other people's games. So
there you go.
So this is Elfie. I don't know how many of you know this, but this is one of our toy line. And this is a plush animal. It's actually made from a well-known plush company whose name escapes me right now. But so this is actually one of our toys, which are all of our toy line are games. And if you have a store that carries this sort of thing, this will do very, very well for you. This is a plush animal that you give it to your child and you hide it on the child. And the child is given a little wand, and they press the wand, and they're going to hear the sound of the animal. Now, this is a defective, so this has a bad chip. So well, maybe the batteries are dead, but you'll hear the sound of the animal, and it helps the child go to find the animal. And we have 8 of these animals. This particular toy line is extremely popular for us. And right now we only have 1 animal in stock. It's the lion, but all the other animals are coming in on July 22nd. So if this is something that you think you can do in your store and use in your store, I would encourage you to try to bring it in. Again, you can always try with just some demos from me. But I have a lot of retailers that all they do is they leave the wand by the cash register, and invariably a young child will pick up the wand, and then they'll take that as an opportunity to say, oh, do you want to go find our friend? And again, whatever the wand is for, the wand is interchangeable, but if you have the pig hidden or the dog or the cat or whatever animal, you just say, let's go find this animal. And in about 95% of the cases, when the child does this exercise in your store, they're buying this toy. And this one retails for $35. And one of the things that is magical about this is we have designed toys that can keep children occupied on their own. You don't have to play with them because they'll play on their own with this toy, and we have another one coming out called Hide and Seek Safari. So just to give you a little bit about our toy line, if you've never encountered it before, it's wildly popular, and we have a lot of retailers that they don't even carry plush toys, but they carry ours in their store because it's just, they know it's going to sell. So.
That's awesome. One of the things you mentioned it during that discussion, and I know you mentioned it before as well. I wanted to kind of stress on it again for the retailers here. Most of the retailers who are GTS customers know that we have a demo program that you can purchase several publishers' games from us at a discount. Dan's is even better than that, as you mentioned before. If you want to get a demo copy of any of his games, obviously for being here today, you'll get a copy of Outback from GTS as a way of saying thank you for joining. But in addition to that, if there are other games like Time's Up or anything else that you want to get as a demo in your store, all you have to simply do, you can contact Dan directly at his email address that we were talking about earlier, or you can also contact your GTS sales rep, and we can contact Dan and his brother Frank on behalf of us. Happy to get those to you, and happy to help that out, because we are very big supporters of demo programs and very big supporters of active play and people being there playing the games right on. So I want to thank Dan for that, because that's a really good opportunity for retailers. So Derek, your question about are those available through GTS? At the current moment, no, we don't carry the toy line from R&R, but if you did want to reach out to Dan directly, that's more than possible, I'm sure.
Now, what if I put sports jerseys on here? Would you guys carry them then?
As long as it's all Buffalo Bills. No, I'm kidding.
That's not happening.
Right. Trust me, it's not happening in Buffalo either. So all good. I always tell people I was raised a Buffalo Bill fan and a New York Yankee fan. So the Bills taught me how to lose, and the Yankees taught me how to win. So awesome. Well, there's no additional questions coming in, so I just wanted to take a moment and thank all the retailers for joining us. This has been a great conversation. I hope it's been a good opportunity for you to learn more about Dan the man, and also Dan and his company with R&R Games. Obviously, if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to reach out. You can contact Dan. Dan, what's your email address again, one more time?
It's Dan D at the letter R, the letter N, the letter R, games.com.
Awesome. And then, of course, you can contact us at GTS Distribution. You can contact me directly at smorris@GTS Distribution. Until then, though, Dan, thank you very much for taking the time to come talk to everyone. Retailers, hope you have a wonderful week in your stores. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Until then, thanks so much for watching.
Thank you, everyone.